Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reacting to a video called The Genius Design of Dutch Money. So this looks very interesting. Let's check it out and comment, like and subscribe.
This is the gulden. It was the Dutch currency for hundreds of years.
Okay.
Then it disappeared.
Vanaf 2002 gaan we immers allemaal betalen met de euro.
This was a shame.
Surprised that it took them so long.
Not the euro, but the death of the design. Its colors outdid every dollar. Its lighthouse stood above all buildings, and its portraits embarrassed the queen. Some say even killed her. The gulden changed the face of cash forever. I believe it's the best paper money ever made.
Okay, why?
But why? Why was Dutch money so different? Why does it look so strange?
It's like paper money.
Nog steeds hoor, als ik mijn biljetten zie, dan vind ik dat hele leuke biljetten, ja.
Ocha Oxenaar was different. He designed government-issued stamps with dramatic, playful colors. Then he
What is
used
that?
brand new techniques like computer-generated graphics to create complicated geometrical patterns. In the
Why?
60s, he made the Erflaters, a series of 5 portrait banknotes from the Vondel, a writer, Hals, a painter, Sweelinck, a composer, De Ruyter, a naval commander, and of course, Spinoza. Together, they all look kind of odd. Oxenaar's
little.
faces look more like they belong in a comic than on a banknote.
Dutch notes are very
I wouldn't say a comic, but I would say they look a little like maybe a book, book of some sort.
distinctive. They are unlike any other central bank's notes that I'm aware of. Visually very striking. I can imagine that not everybody likes them.
I think it's also the color. I think that makes it a little bit like, whoa, I think most people are used to like black and white money, probably.
When you think of money, you think of value, a medium for you to exchange one thing for another. But money is also branding. There are millions of tiny billboards spread across an entire country. It's a place where a nation shows what it stands for,
Oh,
a
okay.
canvas to display national heroes and icons. So why do Oxenaars feel like he's making a joke?
The notes had to have
Actually, this is funny because in this current day, like a lot of people don't use like cash. Everyone uses cards and their phones. So it's sort of like actually cash is nobody uses this anymore. Maybe in the Netherlands it's different.
portraits on them of famous historical figures which would not create any political problems.
Portraits
Yeah.
are the most used images on currency, and
Yeah.
they can be a bit touchy. For some,
Why?
a nation is nothing more than the sum of its people. We use portraits to hold some up as lessons and inspiration. For others, though, portraits can lift up people whose value system is out of date, maybe even threatening. Statues, intentional or not, can be monuments to colonizers, slave owners, and authoritarians.
Yeah,
Maybe the same could be said of the faces we put on currency.
that's
Should
right.
Andrew Jackson, a president and also slave owner, be
Yeah.
replaced by Harriet Tubman, a slave emancipator? Should we have
Newsflash, all of them were like they were all slave owners. That's the reality.
void figures entirely? The genius of Oxenaar's designs is that it didn't matter. He neither avoided people entirely or kept them. He caricatured them.
Yeah.
This is George Washington. Fuck yeah, president. And this is Michiel de Ruyter. Okay.
Yeah.
If you live in a country whose banknotes scream, "Take me seriously," keeping or removing a portrait will always be a controversy.
Yeah.
If you have banknotes that play the fool, well, then there's not much of a throne to fight over.
That's right.
The Erflaters changed portrait currency, but it's Oxenaar's second series that turned it on its head.
Oh my
He was
god.
asked to replace the 100 gulden and add a 50 and 250 banknote. For the 100, he replaces the naval commander, not with someone else, but with a bird.
Oh, I like the other one
This
better.
was crazy. A snipe doesn't have ties to citizenship. It's a bird found in marshy land that happens to be in the Netherlands, but it is by no means the Netherlands.
But wait, a lot of people do use like national animals or just like animals that are very famous in that country and they use it in their banknotes, right? That's normal.
For hundreds of years, money was intimately tied to the faces of rulers, earth-changing scientists, and artists. Oxenaar played a joke on them all. He made the 100 gulden the first banknote in the Western world to no longer be a portrait,
Oh, really?
a bird. With the 50 gulden banknote, he changed it up again.
A flower?
He proposes a sunflower, another object with no clear ties to a nation, but still an indirect homage to Van Gogh.
The glue had made the bee fall off from the top onto the flower, as though it flew there.
The 50 mark is horizontal. Some of its text is vertical. This tempts the owner to turn the bill around. You hand the cashier not money, but a flower.
Oh.
Finally, there's the lighthouse, Oxenar's last and probably most beautiful banknote.
Zie
Is that
je
Dutch?
het bankbiljet dat er hele kleine lettertjes verwerkt zijn. Bijvoorbeeld in de naam van alle kustplaatsen waar vuurtorens staan.
Hello?
Oh, that's...
Where am I?
Why, hello there. You're in a Squarespace ad.
What is this? Who are you?
Squarespace is the best website builder on the market. It's the 21st century. You need a personal website.
What are you even talking? That's actually a fair point.
With Squarespace's flexible website templates and its new Fluid engine, it's never been easier for anyone to unlock unbreakable creativity when it comes to designing your own website. Launch a business and use Squarespace's analytics to build a marketing strategy so you can make more money. Launch a blog and use Squarespace's blogging tools to share your stories, photos, videos, and updates. Check out squarespace.com for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/hoog to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
Oxenar wanted to make currency that symbolized the Netherlands without being a cliché.
No
I like
windmills, clogs, cows, or tulips.
Instead of projecting what
I did think about that. I was like, white sunflowers, shouldn't it be a tulip?
the Dutch are loudly, Oxenar intentionally chose symbols that were a bit more normal. He then took it a step further by converting these symbols into security features.
Oh my god, I love that. What is that?
Banknotes need to be secured against forgery.
Oh,
That's why
right.
banks will issue paper money with watermarks, so
Yeah.
the bills are harder to copy. Oxenar also designed watermarks, but they were different. Instead of heads or angels, Oxenar chose animals. For the 100, the watermark is the head of a snipe. On the flower, it's a bee. And on the lighthouse, a dune rabbit.
Als je nou wilt nagaan of een bankbiljet van 250 echt is of niet, wat kun je dan het beste doen? Nou, dan neem je het bankbiljet, je houdt het tegen het licht en dan zie je verschijnen een watermerk. Een schaduwwatermerk.
Oh.
Omdat er lichte en donkere plekjes in zitten. Lichter en donkerder dan de rest van het papier.
That's
You look
incredible.
through the note and you see a watermark that is a rabbit. It was a rabbit belonging to my girlfriend. Everybody has to walk around with my rabbit in their pocket.
It's
I like
adorable
that.
Kijk je eens langs het biljet en dan zie je een vogeltje zitten en een
and
school.
romantic.
Dat is een plaatje wat eigenlijk bestaat uit tweeën. De voorkant is de helft en de achterkant is ook de helft van die schoolekster. En als je dat nou tegen het licht houdt, dan wordt het één compleet plaatje.
On the 10 gulden bill and on the Spinoza are fingerprints.
I put something personal into this, my fingerprint in the hair of one of the world's most important philosophers, Spinoza.
Oh my
Very
god.
unholy of me, not very nice.
The smudge
What
of
a
the
flex.
finger is so sloppy that no serious artist would dare to include it. Oxenar did it anyway. By the time that the Dutch National Bank
I think it's good because aren't like your prints like very hard to replicate, so it's good when it comes to like forgery, right?
realized what they were, it was too late. A joke in the pockets of an entire population.
That is the nice part of making banknotes. You can make monuments by the millions.
He did the same for the lighthouse. In the beacon, he hid 3 women's names: his granddaughter, girlfriend, and friend. The engraver had
God.
included these names, also completely unknown to the Dutch National Bank. The combination of security features and Oxenar's personal humor was a reoccurring theme.
The smallest lettering that you see in that white square, well, this is meant so that when you are sitting somewhere in a private place like the toilet or somewhere like that, you have something to read.
Another counterfeiting technique is microprinting. Banks will put tiny design printed features onto a banknote. This makes it difficult for counterfeiters to reprint it accurately with a standard photocopying machine.
Okay.
This can be done by printing small lines of text, but that's kind of boring. It's a security feature that's just kind of slapped on to the design.
The artist comes along, hands over his sketches, his ideas, and then they tell him, the design had to be changed. That's our job. We are responsible for security.
Het is natuurlijk altijd voor elk technisch bedrijf een uitdaging
om de wensen en de ideeën, de gedachten dus van de ontwerper te kunnen verwezenlijken.
It's one way of doing it, treating a banknote design and its security feature as separate jobs.
Yeah.
But there is also another way.
Oh, I like that
Make the
one.
security features an integral part of the design.
I said I have to have unrestricted access to every detail, to every technique, to every secret. Otherwise, I cannot make a good design. I must know what the
Oh my god.
The bank
Okay.
accepted this.
You can add a bunch of small thin lines because it makes the banknote secure. Or you can add a bunch of small thin lines because it's necessary for it to look good.
Uitgangspunt bij het ontwerpen van de Nederlandse bankbiljetten is tweeledig eigenlijk. Dat het goed te produceren en ook goed te beveiligen moet zijn en daarnaast een goed gebruiksartikel. En dat is ook de reden waarom die biljetten er eigenlijk anders uitzien dan bijna alle andere biljetten in de wereld. Het is niet zomaar een optelsom van die factoren, maar het is een gevolg van een ontwerpconcept.
For the 100, 250, and 50 gulden, each had their own simple primitive in the background, where you could find hundreds of micro lines changing and adjusting to
I love
different
that one.
areas in the grid. Were these necessary for the design or for the security? The beauty is that you can't tell.
Voor
Ja.
alle bankbiljetten, dus niet alleen voor de 250, geldt nog een vierde echtheidskenmerk en dat is de plaatdruktechniek. Dat kun je namelijk voelen met je vingertop.
Oh, the ones that are weird.
Als je langzaam over het biljet
Yeah, they have a different
met je
texture.
vingertop, dan voel je daarin de dikke en grove lijnen. Dat zijn dikke inktlijntjes die erop gebracht zijn door het toepassen van een speciale druktechniek.
I chose very elementary colors because it was a small series of only 5 values.
Instead of single colors or muted ones, Oxenar fought for vibrant reds, blues, yellows, and greens.
When I made my first banknote, the printers maintained that more color was an impossibility. They said, when you use a green, it must be very dark and blackish green, otherwise it's not safe. I discovered that this was not true. I just had to keep on asking and asking.
Oxenar's
Okay.
banknotes did not only stand out next to single-colored banknotes, but they also stood out among the colored ones. It's almost as though Oxenar's banknotes were like Monopoly money,
Yeah, they look like
which is,
Monopoly money.
well, exactly what they were.
The only money I had seen which was as clear as I wanted money to be was Monopoly money. That was nice money in my eyes. So I hope that my own work looks a little bit like that.
You don't need
It
to
does.
look at the number on Monopoly money to recognize its value. The design is clear, the layout standardized, and the typography loud. With the gulden, it was the same. At a moment's notice, the faintest glimpse, you could identify exactly which banknote it was.
That's what you need color.
The specific colors that were chosen were almost nearly perfect.
Yeah.
The primary colors blue, red, and yellow are the most visually clear for the human eye. Oxenar believed the notes which were used the most should also reflect that. When the value of the money was higher, only then would you find the secondary colors, a dignified green or a royal violet.
Dignified
If you were
green.
colorblind, you're probably not getting this video.
Yeah, of
You
course.
could also still determine the gulden's value from large legible letters.
The objective was to use very clear typography so that when you folded up the note, you could see what the value of the banknote was at least 4 times.
That's great
Oxenar's
design.
designs were influential. For the euro, they didn't consider using separate colors until the Dutch National Bank submitted a proposal based on his designs. He changed the rules for what a banknote could and should look like.
Iets is dat diep in Nederlanders aanspreekt. Als je vlak bij de kust woont, dan is dit zo'n markeringspunt en een beveiligingspunt tussen water en land. Ik denk dat het een heel mooi symbool is. En,
It is.
heel herkenbaar voor Nederlanders, zo levende achter de dijk.
This was incredible. I had no idea that the lore behind Dutch money was so incredible. I love it. I think there are so many things that I liked about the design and why I prefer it to other types of cash. Banknotes. I think I love the different colors. I think that makes it incredibly appealing, and not just appealing. They said it's really good design. This banknotes seem to be designed. I don't really know the process behind this and how it works in other places. I don't really know, is this a job? Is this guy no idea. Is this guy a banknote, designer? I don't know, or is it just a designer and I am a designer and they just hired me? When you hire people for different projects, well, they just hired me for this specific, like, to make money. Like, is it the case? I have no idea. If it is like a type of job in which like you're like, oh, what's your job? Like, what do you do? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a banknote designer. I've never heard of that in my life, but would love to speak to someone like if that's a real job. We'd love to know, because I don't really know like how many people can there be in the world that do this. Like, I don't think there's like a lot of them. So would love to know, intrigued by that. But this guy, I don't really know. Obviously he has a background. You need to, I always say in order to like design banknotes, like you obviously need to have a background in design, in like, I don't know, in just design, because obviously like you have to design this. But I think like even then, like the other sort of like I'm thinking of like other types of like banknotes and just cash. They don't really look like, usually they're not that appealing, and they don't look designed like by a designer. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but most of these are, I think, like just banknotes in general and sort of like cash. It tends to follow sort of like the same pattern. Like it's not that much of like a variety. Like obviously it changes between the country, because like usually they put like important figures. Sometimes or historical figures. Sometimes I do really feel like they do the whole like nature thing, and they do like, it's like the animal that we have, like it's our national animal, or an animal that just like we find a lot of them here. Or just with plants as well, just like flowers and trees. Like, I've seen that before. However, like, not to this level, because all the ones I'm thinking of, they still look, at the end of the day, they still look like normal money. I can't explain it. But in this ones, they almost look like cards that you would, like, give to someone. As in, like, I know, yes, like, or even like a card that you would give, like, oh, it's, you know, it's a happy birthday card. Like, it's something like this. Like, that's what I'm going with, the fact that it looks kind of like designed by an actual, like, someone that knows what they're doing. As in, like, oh, there's a lot of creativity put into this. And a lot of the others, I think I'm thinking of, like, even when they get creative, like, it's not, like, to this level. So that's why apparently, like, all of these look designed by an actual, like, I don't know, they look like a designer, like, someone that does illustrations, and someone who knows what they're doing. I really do like, besides the color that I already mentioned, because again, it's like easy, it's really eye-catching, and besides, like, it's very important, because yes, when you have money, it's very important for you to, like, oh, I'm counting them, like, I have to know which bill, like, I have. And it's easier to just really, oh yeah, the 10 is blue, the red is 30, I don't know, whatever it is, 30, like, you never have, like, cash in banknotes that are 30. But, you know, it's usually, like, in 20, 25, 25, 1, 50, whatever. But it's like, oh yeah, your mind can relate, oh, it's purple, it's 100, and green, it's 50. Like, you don't have to be, like, counting them, like, oh, which one, like, this is, and you make less mistakes. And not just the color, but I also love the fact that they have like the giant numbers to the side, because like they said, not always, but sometimes you do full cash. So it is like, I don't need to like open the whole thing to actually know like how much money I have. You already know, because like it says so on the side. So it's really like perfect design. So it's kind of incredible. It's like, okay, how come other people are not doing this? Like all the other sort of like banknotes, I'm thinking they are quite boring, because again, you put like old presidents, or I don't know, just like the king. Well, but they have to, right? They have to put the king or the queen. Like those are like they kind of have to. But I don't know, how come like other countries are not doing something more like this? If you can't change the actual person, at least like change the colors. Like I like how colorful everything is. And besides the ones that I'm thinking of, actually like still when it's colorful, it's still sort of like a pastel color, like they were mentioning, sort of like a washed down green, or a very light purple, or a very light blue. Like they all have like very, like the colors are very toned down. In this case, it's like, no, it's like, it's bright yellow, it's bright red, it's dark blue. It's like, oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. And I can see why, like, yes, this was the guy. I also love like how modern they all look. Like the ones that were like all, like they had like this whole sort of like, I don't know, I try to explain all the triangles and rectangles, like everything looked like so crazy. Like they looked straight off the painting. There was a purple one that looked really like this could be a painting. Like if you like blew this up, like you like, I don't know, you like, can you print this and like, can you make a painting out of this? Absolutely, you can, you would, and it looked like a painting. I absolutely love it. And I also love like the symbolism behind like, oh, the little bird, and always the lighthouse. I think the one I'm thinking of that looked like a painting was the lighthouse. That was probably my favorite one. because it looked incredibly gorgeous. Like the bill itself was very pretty, and also I love the little clip at the end of him saying like that this is why like the lighthouse represents a lot of things for like Dutch people, and that's what it should be, right? A banknote at the end of the day should represent, you know, what the country actually not stands for, but just things that you relate with the country. And you can go all cliche, like he said, yes, like the tulips and the clocks, yeah, but you don't need to do this. Even though, like, well, obviously he's like thinking a little bit outside the box because he's probably an artist and stuff. That I'm thinking of other countries, like I don't mind if you go cliche, like the UK should have like a little tea, like I don't know, a little teacup or something. I don't know, I like it, or like a double-decker bus, or I don't know, maybe I'm thinking of like that's UK. I was gonna think London, no. But they should do this, or not just obviously I know that by regulation or something they have to put like the monarchs, but the Dutch also have like a monarch, right? They have a king, and apparently the king is not in their money, so that's also like a little interesting. It's like wow, we should all look up to like the Dutch, how the Dutch are doing like the banknotes. But I will finish by saying that it is kind of like a shame that again maybe in the Netherlands it's different and people over there like are still using like a lot of cash in their daily lives, but I think in the rest of the world, if not again maybe all the rest of the world, I'm not gonna say every country, but I think a lot of places are you lead a kind of like a cashless life, because it's like I don't know, ask any random people like in I don't know in the world, maybe in different countries like it varies, but if you ask any random stranger, like, hey, when was the last time you actually like saw you held like a cash in your hands? It's like a lot of people will probably tell you, I cannot remember. And if I did, it was probably like even months ago, weeks ago, because everyone these days, like everything's contactless. You pay with your contactless card or with your phone. Like you pay with like, I don't know, everything's digital. Like there's no need to carry cash anymore. So it is a bit of like a shame that this has kind of been lost. At least that's my perspective. Like, we're losing this, but apparently not in the Netherlands, because again they probably like use a lot of cash. So it's like okay, it makes sense. They have beautiful money, so it's like maybe that's why they're constantly like no, we're not using like our money is not digital. We're using this because like those bills are way too pretty to like go to waste. So you know what? Maybe they do have a point. But that was it for today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.